Hey Lee, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today and being my next guest on Ask the Experts. But first, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Um, just going to be honest, I've never done one of these before, so I hope it works out. So, as Jenny said, my name is Leigh Pierce. I am a key account sales manager here at IngramSpark. I have been with Ingram for 6 years, and somebody is trying to distract me, I swear. So, I've been with the company for 6 years. I started in customer service and then worked my way up to sales. So that's where I'm at right now. I get to go to events and do a lot of cool stuff. I love being here. Before that, I got my bachelor's and my master's of fine arts in poetry writing. Yay, Poetry Month. I got that at Western Kentucky University. So I am an English nerd and I love things that are shiny.
That is awesome. So many folks may know you from Tea with Lee. And if you guys don't know Tea with Lee, make sure to be following us on TikTok, okay? Lee, tell us a little bit more about Tea with Lee and the concept behind it.
So Tea with Leigh features a bunch of content with me just walking around very pregnant with a cup of tea. Um, and the concept behind that was that, we have multiple avenues where we're sharing information with our publishers. But some of it's a little bit harder to find, some of it's not as easily accessible, and some people just really want a different way to get that information and to get it in a quick snippet. So the idea for Tea with Leigh was to provide you with some insider knowledge about the IngramSpark platform that you may not already know to help along the journey in small bite-sized pieces in a different place other than the help center, which can be a little overwhelming. Um, I get a lot of those things from questions that I've answered multiple times throughout the years. Because like I said, I started in customer service. So I got really familiar with the platform and was able to kind of pick out the things that are obvious to me but are not obvious to new people. And I wanted to share that information. So that is why we have Tea with Leigh.
Yes, and we love Tea with Lee. If you guys aren't following us on TikTok, again, make sure to check us out. Ingram Spark on TikTok. Amazing episodes, short, brief, to the point. So we're going to jump right into our next question. So we're going to discuss best practices today and some of our most frequently asked questions. And one of the biggest questions that we typically see over and over again is about book distribution. So could you explain more about Ingram Spark's book distribution and how it works?
Yeah. So IngramSpark book distribution, we have ties to over 40,000 distribution partners. That includes retailers, libraries, gift shops, airport shops, all different places that books can be bought or sold. So when it comes to the distribution reach that IngramSpark gets, you get the same kind of reach as traditional publishers because they work with Ingram too.
Which is amazing. We love that. We love to hear that. 40,000 retailers, guys. Where else can you get that? Okay. Also, I think we talked a little bit about book distribution and how others have opted into Global Connect, or they may have a book in another language or maybe looking to, translate their book into another language. I know we talked a lot about Global Connect in our first episode with Julian Sandel. And if you missed it, make sure to go back to our reels and watch it. But pubs have questions about, pricing their book globally and Global Connect. Can you give any tips on how a publisher, can price their book in a global
Yeah.
marketplace?
So with the Global Connect program, you have access to 10 different printers in other countries that can access the files for your books and print those books on demand in that market, which reduces shipping costs, which is awesome. I'm sure that Julian did a great job explaining how that works a little bit better, but quick recap for those of you who didn't see. So when it comes to pricing your book in those other markets, my go-to suggestion is always to find the equivalent of the US price that you want to set and make sure that you do your homework when it comes to setting your price because you want to look at other books that are similar to yours in your niche similar formats, and kind of stick with that a little bit because the pricing has changed throughout the years. So I definitely recommend if you put out a book in the past couple of years, it's probably a good time to go look at your asking list price and consider looking at the market where it is now with inflation and everything, and consider upping your list price or revising. I always suggest to do that. And then when you look at the different markets that are available, if you choose to do Global Connect, you should definitely do it. There's no downside, I don't think. It's going to automatically default to the US dollar, and then it will convert as those books sell. But then you also have the options to put in pricing for the UK, for Australia, Europe, and Canada. My suggestion is to use a currency converter. I just use the one on Google usually, to find the equivalent and then round up to the next 99 because it looks more professional that way, or 95 if you really like that. But that's always my suggestion. And so far it works. Also, please don't ever choose return deliver for Canada returns. If you want to know why, ask us. But that's a big thing I always suggest.
And that's so funny that you said that because that kind of goes into our next question, which is about returns. We see it a lot in our community, especially on Facebook. How can a person set up returns, turn off returns? Are they still financially responsible for returns if they change their status? That's a big one, Leigh. So I'm going to let you handle that one.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. First off, you can make books returnable and then choose yes deliver for the US and Canada, and then return destroy for all markets. And return destroy is also available for US and Canada. I don't ever suggest doing return deliver for Canada because it's $20 per book to return back to us, and that gets charged directly to you. And usually the books are not worth that. If you've got like a high priced academic title, maybe, but typically it's not. So I always suggest return destroy if you're going to do return. If you're in the United States, it's $3 per book to do a return. So it might be a little bit more financially wise to do that. Key insider tip, don't tell anybody. No, you can tell. When we receive returns, we end up reprinting the book. So they're brand new copies when you get those returns. So it might be worth it to do return deliver for you, but it might not be. So if you don't have the space for that, you don't want to receive those copies, you don't have to. I would also think about what your marketing strategy is, because if you want to get books into bookstores, you're really going to have returns activated, because most bookstores won't purchase a book that's not returnable and doesn't have their standard trade discount. In order to provide that standard trade discount, we've always said 53 to 55% wholesale discount. If you are not financially prepared to accept returns, I would rethink wanting to get your books in bookstores, and I would focus on an internet marketing, because you can keep your book non-returnable and offer a little lower discount and have that online presence and drive sales that way. And it works pretty well for a lot of people. Definitely for those who are not financially prepared to take returns, because returns are expensive and making your book returnable is super risky. You never know who's going to buy the book, try to sell it. It doesn't sell, it comes back. And we can't control how many copies people order. And by people, I mean retailers and such. So when it comes to making your book returnable, think very, very hard about it and make the best decision for your business. Because once you make that decision to make a book returnable, it stays returnable for 180 days at least.
180 days.
Yeah, past what if you decide to change your mind later. So if you make your book returnable today and then a week from now decide, oh no, this is the bad idea, I don't want to do that, the book stays returnable for 180 days, but it also sends up a flag that says this book is only returnable for 180 days. If you have a copy of this, you might want to consider returning it if you're gonna. And so it can act as a trigger for retailers to send returns back. So if you make your book returnable, my advice is to keep it returnable. Also, don't change your discount when you make it returnable, because if you sell for a high discount and then change your discount to a low discount, we use whatever is there at the time of receiving the book. And so if you lower your discount to 30%, then you're paying more for that returned book than what it's sold for. So we don't want you to do that.
Absolutely. That's a lot of good information, guys. So I hope you guys are writing this down. We're going to have a giveaway later in this episode. These are really good notes. Thank you so much, Leigh.
Yeah.
I know the next question that we get a lot of is, can you use IngramSpark in conjunction with Amazon KDP?
Absolutely. IngramSpark doesn't take any intellectual property rights, so you have the freedom to take your book wherever you want. Here's the thing, and like, you need to know this is in order to make that jive. KDP's expanded distribution is Ingram. So if you put a book in KDP and you enable expanded distribution, then they're going to try to send the book to us too, and it can be really confusing. So my advice, if you're going to do both, which honestly you should, use Amazon for Amazon. Amazon is great for doing everything Amazon because they don't like to play nice with everybody. Just call in as a CEO. But use IngramSpark for everything else. So put your book in KDP with the same ISBN. Don't ever use more than one ISBN per format of your book, please. It leads to so much confusion. Same ISBN in IngramSpark as well as KDP. Don't enable expanded distribution, and you should jive pretty quickly, or pretty well. But what I will say is, if your book is in both KDP and Amazon, or I'm sorry, KDP and IngramSpark, both of those are going to feed your title information to Amazon. Because with IngramSpark, it's not a pick and choose. So you can't make your book only available to everybody except for Amazon. If you enable a book for distribution, a print book specifically, it goes everywhere. That's just what it is. So both of those feeds will go to Amazon, and then Amazon gets to choose who is going to print the book. Now, typically, they will prioritize KDP because they own KDP, but in busy months, they may decide it's better to just send that volume to IngramSpark, which is totally fine. Whoever prints your book is going to be the one to pay you. So keep that in mind.
Awesome. That's some really good information. And with all that being said, we know that printed physical copies are a great way. Is a great way for people to know what they're getting into before placing a large order, for them to review the book. Are there any tips that publishers and authors can look to make sure that that book meets their expectations?
Yeah, definitely. So when you get your e-proof, it's going to show you what a book would look like if it was perfectly printed and perfectly trimmed. So if you're a little concerned about how much margin is on the edge, and it looks beautiful and perfect on that way, but if it were to shift just a little, it might cut off, then you might want to rethink submitting a revision to make sure you have a little more margin space. Because what we have is a 1/16 inch tolerance where the book can shift in any direction when it's printing, because we are print on demand. So we print the books as they're going. And I'm sorry, I got distracted by a question. I told you I was new at this, guys.
It's fine. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Ask the question again. I have mom brain.
No worries. The physical copy, the tolerance with the margin.
Okay. Yeah. All books are print on demand. We make them as they come. And our facilities are printing close to 80,000 to 100 books a day. Or I'm sorry, 80,000 to 100,000. Let me restate that. Lots and lots of books every day. So a lot of it is machine and manufacturing that way, but we also have a human element to it. And so we can't make a book perfect every single time. It'll happen upon occasion, but it won't always. So that's why we have that 1/16 inch tolerance. And like I said, it can shift in any direction. So if you have a cover design that has a very different spine than the front and the back covers, and that shifts just a little bit, it may wrap to the front or the back, and it may not look exactly as you wanted it to. We understand wanting perfection. I'm a perfectionist, but POD is not for perfectionists. It will make a book that retailers won't have any issue with. If they do have issue, they have their separate claims process, and they will do that. But if it shifts just a little bit, it's not going to change the retailer purchasing your book, it's not going to change a reader because they don't know what it's supposed to look like. So if you were wanting perfection, my suggestion is always to make the design so that a little bit of shift is not going to be noticeable.
That's really good
And
advice.
you'll see what that looks like when you order a physical copy. Always, always, always order a physical copy of your book before ordering a large amount. My suggestion is once you get your e-proof, to approve it for production only. Don't put it into distribution at first. Put it into production, order a copy, look at it, make sure you like it, and submit your revision if you need to then. Because trying to submit a revision when your book is printing is not going to work very well. And I think you asked me about this later, don't you? Is that the next question?
No, it's the one right after that one. But yes,
we'll get there.
But yes, so making sure that you have a physical printed copy is a great way to have a good visual before placing a large order, guys. So placing orders with IngramSpark is really easy for authors, especially with the launch of Share and Sell, which we talked about with Ray Johnson in our last episode. Leigh, if you don't mind, the people who don't know about Share and Sell, or just to rehash it, can you talk more about placing orders and how authors and pubs can use Share and Sell to offer book promos to their readers?
Yeah, certainly. Share and Sell is awesome, guys. I know I'm kind of a hype person. I'm like, everything is awesome. Share and Sell is really awesome, okay? So you can use Share and Sell link to run promotions. You can use it to put that link on your website and drive customers to you. The best part about Share and Sell is that when customers use that, they purchase directly from you, not from a retailer. So the retailer's cut comes to you. And so you make more every sell through a direct purchase link through the Share and Sell program. You can set it to have parameters so that only 50 books can be ordered at this certain price, or it's only going to run for a week at this certain price, and then the links will automatically deactivate. You can create a link that is an evergreen link. It never dies, and customers can go straight there from your website and purchase copies of your books. They pay whatever price you set. If you want to give them a 10% discount, a 20% discount, a 40% discount, you can put whatever you want in that, and it will show you exactly how much you will make per sale in that, using that link. So please, please, please check out that e-commerce link, that e-commerce tab that's in your account. Give at least that video a look over. Really consider using those, because you can drive some sales and really make your business work using those. I'm so excited about them.
Yeah, and it's had on what you said, Leigh, about Share and Sell. It is only available in the US right now, but we are looking to expand it in other markets. And if you want to learn more about Share and Sell, please make sure to go to our link in bio at the IngramSparks Books Instagram page. We have a tip sheet, we've got a video, we've got all this great helpful information that you guys can use to learn more about Share and Sell, which goes into the next question. We talked a little bit about revision of files, which is like a huge thing in our communities, especially revising files close to their release date. Leigh, talk about that, and what kind of advice would you give an author who has a last minute revision close to their release date?
Gotcha. This is a super nuanced answer. So I'll start from the beginning. Like I said, when you approve your e-proof for production, that means that you're saying, we can print this file. Anybody who orders it, we can print this file. And so if it's not a finalized file, you gave us permission to print a non-finalized file, just calling it as it is. So if you don't want that file printed, don't enable it for distribution.
Yeah.
Only enable distribution when you are relatively certain that that book is ready. And I know that kind of makes it difficult when you want to do pre-orders, but that's why you need to have finalized finalized files before you go into your pre-orders, so that you can not worry about, is the format and the text, everything good. It's all done. Now you just have to mark it. So always, always, always wait to enable distribution until you are relatively certain it is final. Now, sometimes typos happen, they get missed. Even the best editors can miss that. And I know some of our publishers may not even be using an editor, which I would just say is worth using. So if you get to your on sale date, which by the way, on sale date should match your publication date. Always, always, always. There's no reason to have them different. When you get to the on sale date, if you decide like a day or two, or even 2 weeks before, there are some typos that I really want to fix. Really think about if it's worth it, because if you're doing the marketing, if you're driving the pre-orders for this book, chances are we could already be printing the copies to make sure that they're going to be in the right place to get to your customers' hands. Yep. So if somebody in New Zealand orders a copy of this book, but it can't print in Australia, we may be having to print it in the US and ship it there, which takes time. And so we may print that book maybe 2-3 weeks early. So because it's enabled for distribution, we've been okay to print it, we're going to. So that process may be going. And while we're printing, while that print is going, we can't process a revision because that file is being used. So if you submit a revision during the time when printing is happening for your title, especially if you've been marketing it, it's just about to release, that means that that revision will pend. It will wait until the printing is done and can slide in to be processed. And what happens is if we see that a revision is pending while orders are printing, we may start sending out the availability that we need to pause printing because the file isn't quite right. This is not approved. We need to pause. And that can affect your title's availability online and with other retailers. So that's why we see things like an on sale date comes, but my book's not available on Amazon.com, or my book's not available at Barnes & Noble. What's happening? The revision is holding it up and it's interrupting the metadata stream that says your book is available. So if you have a couple of typos, it is probably worthwhile to wait until the demand for your book dies down to submit that revision. Readers are probably not going to care about a couple of typos. I hope that y'all aren't offended by me saying that, but it's more important to be able to keep your book in production than it is to hold it up and possibly miss sales for a couple of typos. Now, if you have a significant revision, you have got to put that thing through. That happens. We understand. I would say wait to put the revision through and email customer service. Let them know, hey, I have a revision I have got to get through, and can you help me? And then they will be in contact with you and be able to work with you to try and get your revision in with minimal disruption of your title's availability.
Perfect. Well, that is some great information, Leigh. What other She's a wealth of information, guys. What can I say? What other platforms can our viewers, our authors, publishers, creators, where can they go to get assistance outside of customer support?
Yeah. So we have a robust knowledge base. I would definitely say use that. There's a little, I think it's like a support tab in the bottom right. I just had a kid. I don't remember things so good. Bottom right, I think it's blue. You click that, it'll have like contact us, but it also has the knowledge base there. And you have a search bar and you can just type in your question or type in a keyword, and that'll bring up a lot of different articles, a lot of different resources. You've got the Walk Me, so there are tutorials to go through, like placing an order. There's the regular IngramSpark.com. There's a resources tab. I would definitely go check that out. There's blog posts. There's all kinds of stuff. So definitely.
We got Tea with Leigh.
There's Tea with Leigh. Come to Tea with Leigh.
Absolutely. Make sure you're following us on TikTok, guys. Tea with Leigh. Make sure you're following. Yeah, like you said, we have blog posts, we have the knowledge base, we've got our website, we have healthy blogs, we have YouTube videos, guys. We have tons of YouTube videos. Please make sure to go check that out.
There's a good one about
we have a LinkedIn. We have so much information, guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. This was an amazing episode with Leigh. She had so much useful and helpful information, guys. If you missed part of the episode, it's fine. We're going to record this episode and you can rewatch it on Reels, because I do see some questions coming up in the comments that we've already answered. But this is the question and answer portion of the episode. If you've just been joining, now is the time to put those questions down in the comments. As long as there are not any any personal support questions. If they're pretty general, Leigh will be glad to answer some of those questions about best practices. Again, we have some really good sources in our link in bio as well. If you missed anything, we also have a help tab in our link in bio. This is so, and it's Leigh, Leigh, WJ Warren. So sorry, I forgot to preface that. So if anyone has any comments or questions, now is the time to put it in the chat. I think I saw one that we answered from Drew Dunmore. Do you have to be exclusive with KDP to be on the KDP platform? Leigh, if you just want to give them like a 30-second.
Yeah.
Sorry, because we've
So general KDP, no, you don't have to be exclusive with them. They don't have an exclusionary thing. To preface this, I do not work for KDP. I'm not super familiar with everything that they have, but I do know that they do have a KDP, I think it's Advantage, something like that. There is a version of their services that is exclusive. So definitely look over their contracts before you put your book with them to make sure that you still retain all your rights and there's no exclusion.
Okay. I think we have one from, is it Christy Lene Moore? She has a question about share and sell. How much does that cost for authors, and is it a membership?
So I got to preface this by saying that, IngramSpark is really for the authors and for the publishers. So share and sell is free. There is no cost. Did you like the build up there? I was trying to be like,
love it. It was great.
yeah, there's no cost. It's not a membership. You just have to create an account, and it's free to create an account. So if you have an account, you have a book available for distribution, you can create a share. Actually, I lied. You don't even have to make a book available for distribution. As long as it's available for production, you can use the share and sell link.
And share and sell has no returns. No returns.
No returns. No returns. No returns.
No returns. No returns. I did see another question. I think it's from Tickle Mites LLC. She said, I was having trouble with the cover. That's fixed, but the QR price was different from the metadata information. I changed the metadata price to match the QR code cover. It's still listed as processing. So I'm not really sure if she's just asking a question about the processing, or I guess how long it takes for that to be updated. Leigh, if you want to answer that, you can, and if not, I'll just send her.
Yeah.
Send her over to
I think when she says QR code, I think she's probably meaning the barcode.
I think.
And so for those of you who don't know, you can put your price into the barcode, and it usually will begin with a 5 and then whatever the number. So for instance, if your book is priced at $19.95, it's going to be 51995, and that tells us how much the book is supposed to cost. That embedded price, that's the word I was looking for. That embedded price should match your metadata. If it doesn't, usually pre-media will catch it. If they missed it, which, we're human, things happen. You can update your metadata to do that, or you can update the file. So she's chosen to update the file. It means that the cover needs to be revisited and reprocessed, which is a manual thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if changing that, it takes an additional 1 to 3 business days to get that reviewed. But if you're still caught in the revision processing after 2 or 3 days, definitely reach out to customer service, and they'll be able to go look into that for you.
Awesome. Well, let me look at the time. So we're getting close to our 30-minute time frame. So I want to jump really quick into the giveaway, which we have some really, really great prizes that I want to offer to everyone that's on the live today. Make sure that you comment below. The first person to comment that I see on my side will win. So it's what we can see first. I'm going to ask very specific questions that are related to the live. And like I said, if you win the prize, make sure to DM me with your contact information, your full address, so that way I can get that in the mail. Also, if you have any Spark unboxing videos or any content, please, please, please tag us on all this. Please, please, please. We love to highlight our publishers and authors. So please make sure that you're tagging us in all your content as well. Don't just send it in our DMs. Make sure that you tag us in the content. Also, make sure that you're following us on all platforms. And also, if you want to be a featured author, we love featuring authors. This month is National Poetry Month, so we do have a little preference toward poets this month. But even if you're a general author, make sure you go to the Why Publish link in our bio for a chance to be featured to be featured, we would love to highlight all of our authors and publishers and make sure that they have a voice in our community. So let's go ahead and begin with the giveaway. And Leigh talked about this earlier, but could you list, can you guys in the comments, can you list at least two places where you can find assistance outside of the help desk? At least two places.
So while they answer that, I'm just quickly going to answer a question I saw pop up, which was, do you have to use KDP in conjunction with IngramSpark, or can you just use IngramSpark? The answer is you can totally just use IngramSpark. We make your books available to Amazon too.
Awesome. Support and email. Tickle Mites. Make sure that you send me a DM. All right. Let me go ahead and write your name down. Perfect. And if you already win, let's say you answer the second question and you're the same person, I'll just add an extra little goodie in there, but I will try to let someone follow up and win as well. The question of all questions that we've answered a couple times on this live. Can you use KDP in conjunction with IngramSpark? Yes or no? Let's see. Do I have? All right. Tickle Mike said yes. Perfect. And illustrates. I'm going to give that one to you since Tickle Mike's answered the other one. I'll just throw something extra in there for you. Perfect. So I noticed this question. It kind of stood out to me. How many days did Leigh say if you, for your return status, how many days if you change it, can they return your book? It really stuck out to me. So do you guys remember how many days that a person has to return your title? Perfect, Deb the Poet, 180. Yes, let's go. Let's go. Perfect. All right, this is another one. We've plugged this one a couple times. Where can you find, on which social media platform can you find Tea with Leigh? What platform? Anchor Heart Books at TikTok. That is correct. Perfect. Make sure you guys send a DM with your full, your not your social media name, but your government name and your contact address where you want me to mail your giveaway item. Okay, and so last question, guys. If anyone on the live has signed up for our share and sell feature, and we will check, okay, make sure that you put hashtag share and sell in the comments. If you signed up for share and sell and you're actively promoting your title, please put hashtag share and sell in the comments and I'll send you a special little prize.
But don't just do it because it's cool.
Yes. And if you haven't signed up for share and sell, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for, guys?
Somebody got to do it. Who's done it?
Who signed up for share and sell? Anyone?
What's your question, Dev?
Dev, what's your question? Because I don't think anyone signed up for it. I'm not seeing any hashtag share and sell.
We'll give them a minute.
You guys, and I think another thing, in U.S. based accounts, I think it might be listed as e-commerce.
It's under e-commerce.
So that might be something that you guys may be a little confused about. Make sure you U.S. pubs, you're looking into your account and it says e-commerce.
Hey, J Media, you can use the links with your website.
In conjunction with your website, J Media. Absolutely. Oh, RHMD 1940. Okay, wonderful. And RHMD 1940, send me the name that your share and sell account is under so that way we can verify it and I'll send you your prize. And and Drew Dunmore, we have an episode of Share and Sell in our reels, so you can go back and watch it, and it will show you exactly how to sign up for it. We also have some tips. We have videos in our links in bio on our Instagram account that shows you how to set up your Share and Sell account. It's super, super easy, guys. You guys definitely should be using this. It's putting more money in your pockets, guys. Deb the Poet has a question. He says, I may have missed it, but what does the marketing tool entail? I paid for it before, but not sure how it was used and how my book was printed. What marketing tool specifically are you talking about?
I think you're talking about the iPage ad.
Are you talking about iPage or Ingram ID? And Crystalline, is it Christy Lene Moore? We do a Ask the Expert live once a month, and we put them on our Instagram page. You'll see a flyer with the upcoming guests. We put the date and the time on there. So always set your calendar for that, because we try to do, a 2 to 3 week time frame to promote these lives so you guys can join. We also record them, so that way if you do miss it, you can go back and watch it, because we do have a lot of valuable information, guys. We want you guys to be as successful as possible, so we try to give you the tools to do that. Let me see. I don't know. Did he said yes, the ad?
Yeah, I think he's talking about the iPage ad. So I'll talk about both real quick, just to be quick. So the iPage ad, iPage is the catalog. It's the center where all of our retail partners and distribution partners purchase books. So if you have an ad up on that site, it means that your book is visible to those that are making those purchases. So unless you have an iPage account, you won't be able to see it. But if you go into the promotions tab, go to past insertion orders, and then click on where you took out that ad, at the bottom of that page, it should have a link for you to see where your ad, what it looked like and when it ran. If that link is not there yet, that means that your book has not been put up on the ad yet. The time hasn't run, so it'll be forthcoming. So I would just check back. As far as Ingram ID, it's a really cool tool to target marketing to verified readers. People that Ingram knows have placed orders for books, have looked at the types of topics that you're looking at. So you're putting your book in front of people that we know are buying books. And specifically, they're buying books in your genre. So definitely go look at Ingram ID. You can decide if you want to take out an ad. You can put it on Facebook. I think, is it, Janice, is Facebook, Google? It used to be Amazon, but we're not doing Amazon anymore because.
Right. Yeah.
I think
we're gonna talk about that a little more on another live. So yeah, we're gonna leave that. We'll leave that for a future one. And I think WJ, we're gonna ask this last question because we are over time. WJ asks, how can I tell if an order has been placed?
So if it's an order for your books, just go to the orders tab and then click submitted. It'll show you every book order that has been placed through your account. If it's not showing up in the submitted, it's probably in the pending, and there's a step or two that you haven't finished to submit that order completely. If it's the iPage ad, it'll be under that past insertion orders under the marketing tab.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's all, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's give a great round of applause, a clap for Leigh today, guys. Leigh Pierce, thank you so much for joining me today on this third episode of Ask the Experts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this live, and we cannot wait to see you guys next month. We have some really great speakers, and thank you guys so much again. Thank you so much, Leigh. Thank you. This was an amazing episode, guys. Have an amazing day. And don't forget to share your story with the world. Bye.
Bye.